Prologue. The Storm. What am I doing here? I was in a small orange tent in the middle of a sheep field in the center of France, sheltering from a violent thunderstorm and attempting to comfort the terrified handicapped man in my arms. What the hell was I doing there? I belonged in the theater, for God's sake. I'd been voted best up-and-coming actress in Vancouver. A universe was waiting for me on the other side of the Atlantic and the Rocky Mountains. Not a safe universe, but at least familiar and mine. A tiny apartment with a cat, actor colleagues, a sort of boyfriend. A career that had been steadily building over this decade of my 20s. Up and coming. But I was not on stage in Vancouver. I was clutching shivering Jean-Claude as a deluge battered our tent. Lying on the hard ground, listening to the crash of thunder, sheets of water hammering our flimsy refuge, I worried the tarp would be whipped away, leaving us exposed. I pictured us running through the rain-lashed fields, me and my two wards, Emile, the sweet giant with the mind of a child, and little psychotic Jean-Claude, whom I was now holding close, stroking his hair, trying to appear calm. It was August of 1979, and I was an assistant at a L'Arche community in France, one of a growing number of these communities where people who are intellectually disabled live and work side by side with people who are not. Nothing had prepared me for this new reality, and yet, to my astonishment, I'd taken to it. Though the days were challenging and surreal, filled with struggle, discomfort, and even anguish, I was enjoying them. Living and working at L'Arche was an extraordinary experience. There was a great deal to be learned from a small group of damaged Frenchmen, my housemates. I thought of my best friend Gail, the reason I was in this bizarre situation. "Why don't you stay a while?" she'd asked during what was meant to be a brief visit with her and her French family, and instead of heading safely home, I'd taken the offer seriously. It was a treat, I'd found, to be back in France, my home for a year as a teenager. It gave me pleasure to hear the French language flowing from my mouth, to feel so at ease in a foreign country, especially this foreign country, my father's favorite place on earth. What would Dad think? Or Gail, to see me now cringing as cracks of thunder shook the ground. "T'inquiète pas," I whispered to Jean-Claude as he nestled closer, breathing hard. "Ça va bientôt passer. Don't worry, it'll soon be over." It did me good to be brave for him. If I'd been alone, my trembling would have been as violent as his. But it was true, the gale didn't last much longer. The rumbles grew softer and more distant as the storm diminished. My companion's rigid body loosened and he fell asleep. With relief, I extricated my arms from around him. There would be no sleep, I was sure, for my insomniac self. "Give me my own bed," I grumbled, burrowing deeper into the mildewed sleeping bag. Who in her right mind would volunteer for this? Yet, while I flailed back and forth under the soft patter of rain, listening as peace returned to the universe, a voice in the back of my head was still relishing the cosmic drama above. How incredible that I, Beth Kaplan, Vancouver actress, was right in the middle of it. Volunteering to spend a few months here might be one of the wisest decisions I, the most indecisive person alive, had ever made. I wasn't sure, but the notion was starting to come clear.